So we are about to get our third and final DD2 heat underway here at Zuera in Spain after two victories so far from Frank Canchar, who was the man that just about nicked pole position from qualifying. You heard him just on Telemundi TV. So the cart's making their way around the first of two formation laps here. And Frank Canchar once again will lead them around from pole position. So Canchar on pole position, Konstantin Scholl is going to be lining up second on the grid. On row 2, hopefully, we'll have Giannis Slavinski. Had a problem with the kart and missed the start of race 2, but was very quick in race 1. Villevalainen is going to line up on the outside of row 2. On row 3, Kevin Ludi, currently second in the points, behind the championship leader Lucas Bartosuk. And Cosimo Durante has been very quick this weekend. Row 4, Bruno Borlido and Mick Vishofer. And to complete the top 10, Oriol Damo Caballero, Raul Abascal Lavin. Row 6, we've got Moransky and Pierce. Row 7, Sam Smeltz, Aaron Sherlock. Row 8, Barry Pullinger, Michael Kuhl. Row 9 is the championship leader, Lucas Bartosuk. Harold Skarkaklis is alongside. Row 10 to complete the top 20 is Christoph Adams, and alongside Christoph, Richard Faulkner. One into the pits. This time it's Oriol Damo Caballero, number 628, who comes in at the end of the first formation lap. In the first, or last time out in the first lap, we had these dramas for Giannis Slavinski. So a recap. Race 1, it was Frank Canchar that won comfortably by 2 seconds from Giannis Slavinski and Kevin Ludi. Konstantin Scholl was 4th. Villevalainen was 5th. In the second heat, Canchar won again. Konstantin Scholl was 2nd. Kevin Ludi was 3rd. Villevalainen 4th. And Cosimo Durante, who picked up a penalty in the first race, was in 5th position. There was just one penalty, which I think is a record so far today, from that second race. And the penalty went to number 617, Marius Rauer, for a bad manoeuvre. He picked up a 10-second penalty, which dropped the German driver down to 22nd position. As for the Masters drivers, Giannis Slavinski and Martin Pierce have both had 2 terrible races so far, and therefore they'll be struggling a little bit to get a good grid for the final. So Oriol Damo Caballero is being held at the end of the pit lane here. Looks like the kart is fired up. Hopefully they'll fix the problem, but he's going to have to effectively start from the pit lane and from the back of the grid. He should have been lining up, as I said, on the 5th row, on 9th spot on the grid. So Canchar is looking for 3 wins out of 3 here. He's leading them round coolly. The Hungarian driving superbly so far this weekend. Another one comes into the pits with a problem, which is 663. Bruno Borlido, who was in the top 6 in race 2. So 2 drivers with dramas here. But there are the rest of them, ready for the third heat for DD2. 9-lap race. It gets underway, and a much tighter start this time. Frank Canchar, though, is going to lead going through turn 1 for the first time in the race. Giannis Slavinski has tucked in behind him. And then it's going to be Konstantin Scholl, who slots into 3rd place. So Konstantin losing 1 position from the outside of row number 1, but with a decent start, he'll still be in the mix there in 3rd place. And the 2 drivers starting from the pit lane are just about getting going now, and Borlido's just gone out, so it's going to be a third of a lap down. Oriol Damo Caballero is not as far back, so he's last but 1 as the top 4 all bunch up together now, going into the left-hander at turn 6. Top 5 really are together at the start of this race. Villevalainen in the mix. Kevin Ludi's in the mix, has had a decent start as well. And Kevin looking for maybe a spot, if he can't get pole, maybe 3rd on the grid, or maybe 2nd, but 3rd often the better place to be out of the 2. Pretty clean start for everybody then. Very good start for Frank Canchar, once again leading the way. He hasn't seen the back of anybody else's kart so far today. He's led every single lap of the races so far, but he's got close company here. Giannis Slavinski is with him, and then a change for 3rd as down the inside goes Kevin Ludi, moving past the Austrian driver Konstantin Scholl. Those 2 have raced good, clean races together so far today, and will work together to try and close the gap to those ahead. Not that the 2 leaders are very far clear, because Canchar and Slavinski are both within sight. Kevin Ludi then promoted to 3rd with that move at the hairpin. Konstantin Scholl in 4th place. Cosimo Durante is in 5th place. Villevalainen is in 6th. Sam Smeltz 7th. And then in 8th place is Martin Pierce, finally having a good race and a good first lap. So Martin Pierce, who's been quick enough to be up in the top 10 in most of the sessions so far, and particularly in one of the practice sessions yesterday, he was 4th quickest overall. He's 8th in the overall championship, and leading the Masters division, but having a pretty shocking first couple of races. Didn't finish the first race, then picked up a penalty for a bad manoeuvre, and didn't finish the second race either. But Martin now with a very good race so far here, up into the top 10. Over the line go the top 2. And Giannis Slavinsky, who's been very, very quick so far. Just had that bad luck, that problem with the kart in race number 2. But he's on the tail and he's hanging on to Frank Canchar here. Third is Kevin Ludi. Konstantin Chol has lost another place to Durant, trying to come back at him down into the hairpin. And doesn't work, so he stays 5th. Villevalainen with the white helmet is just behind him in 6th place, looking left, looking right to try and keep Sam Smelt behind him, because Sam Smelt has made a good start to the race as well aboard the number 696 kart to be in 7th place. And it's another of the Spanish drivers, Raul Abascal Lavin, just behind him in 8th position. But here we've got the top 3 together now, because Kevin Ludi has caught up to both Canchar and Slavinsky. So the Hungarian leads, followed by the Polish driver, the Swiss driver in 3rd, Italian, and then an Austrian, and then a Finnish driver, and then a British, and then a Spanish driver. So a multinational field at the head of the pack. But it's Canchar, the reigning champion, that leads. Here's the battle over 4th place. Cosimo Durante just ahead of Konstantin Chol. Konstantin close enough to pick up a toe, though, on the run down into turn 1. No, not quite. Top 3 down into turn 2. Kevin Ludi has a little look down the inside. What about the hairpin? Is there going to be any moves there? Through the little left kink they go. On the brakes, no change. But Kevin Ludi has got the fastest lap of the race. Look, with the 63.9. 64.0 for the race leader last time around. 64.1 for Slavinsky in 2nd place. So he gained a couple of tenths on them. And if it stays like this, according to our predictor, well, obviously, Frank Canchar is going to be on pole because he would have had 3 race wins. Kevin Ludi, with 9 points, would be starting 2nd on the grid for the pre-final. And Konstantin Chol, with 11 points, would be starting 3rd on the grid. Villevalainen 4th, Durante 5th. That's the way it stands at the moment, once all the points are added up from the heats. All, of course, provisional and subject to post-race checks and whatever else goes on in this race, because there's still 2/3 of it left to run, as our top 3 work once again through this flat-out right-hander onto the long, long straight here. That's Zuera. Over the line they go. There's just 0.2 of a second covering the top 3. Durante has just set the fastest lap of the race. The man in 4th, Kevin Ludi, has a big look down the inside of Giannis Slavinsky for 2nd at turn 2. But he couldn't make it through, so he backed off. There's confirmation on screen that Cosimo Durante has set the fastest lap of the race now with a 63.7. He's about 0.3 quicker on that lap than the lead trio ahead of him. So catching up the gap, bridging the gap from the 2nd group to the 1st. In 6th place, there's a good battle going on as well. Villevalainen in the mix. Up to 7th place now has come Martin Pearce. Sam Smelt down to 8th. And then we've got Raul Abascal Lavin into 9th place now. And up into 10th position, we've got Slavomir Moransky. So the 2 Masters drivers that have been the quickest, certainly in qualifying day, but both had rotten days so far with the first 2 heats. Well, both Pearce and Moransky are now into the top 10 in this 3rd heat, and they needed that, really. Everybody will qualify automatically for the final. There's a maximum of 34 in a race, and we haven't quite got that number, so whatever happens today, everybody's going to make it through to the point-scoring races. Sometimes there is a cut-off, and we have second chance heats. We have people not making it through to the point-scoring races, but at least they'll all be through this weekend. Cosimo Durante has got another fastest lap. That's 0.2 quicker and goes for 3rd place as soon as he gets onto the tail of the Slavinsky kart, which has already dropped down to 3rd place behind Kevin Ludi. So Canchar, Ludi and Durante now the top 3. Slavinsky down to 4th place. Scholl 5th, Villevalainen in 6th place. Not that far behind them. Then a gap back to 7th position, which is Martin Pearce, still as the best master by a long, long way. And Moransky's just dropped a place to 10th position now. So fastest first sector of the race so far for Cosimo Durante. He's absolutely flying, isn't he? 6.40 is his race number. And he's only 0.3 of a second behind Kevin Ludi. So here they come over the start-finish line. Kevin Ludi's pushing on, though, to try and close the gap back to the race leader. Durante sets another fastest lap of the race, though. 63.545, a few hundredths quicker than the lap before. That's the 3 fastest laps of the race now. All belong to Cosimo Durante, who's closing on the top 2. If he stays in 3rd place, he's going to be 5th on the grid. And well, he'd have to really try and win this to be any higher up the grid, because Canchar on 0 points would be on pole. Ludi on 8 would be 2nd. Scholl on 11 would be 4th. Villevalainen on 15 would be 5th. And Durante on 20 would be lining up on that third row of the grid in 5th position on the inside as it stands. Kanchar, though, has been caught, hasn't he, by Kevin Ludi, who's had a really good lap here. Kevin was doing a personal best in the first sector. Durante has done the fastest first sector of the race, though. Slavinsky has done the fastest second sector of the race. So Slavinsky is trying to get back into the mix here for the last couple of laps. He's currently in 4th place, but he's on a very good lap here. Through they all go, and Durante gets the fastest lap of the race. Personal best for everybody in the top 6, so the pace is still out there. The Mojo tyre is still working well in these pretty hot conditions now. It's 30 degrees, a couple of degrees hotter than it was yesterday. And they're another fastest lap of the race for Cosimo Durante. So consistent. 3 laps now on the trot in the 5s. Look at this. The top 3 are now visibly in a battle here because you've got Kanchar, Ludi and Durante all together. You've got Slavinsky leading the second group almost onto their tail as well, with Scholl and Verlainen in the mix. Verlainen just a little bit off the battle, but if they start scrapping, the Finnish driver might be able to pick up a couple of places in the closing laps. So there you see, over the curbs, the race leader, Frank Kanchar, having to fight harder than he's had to fight so far today to make sure he stays in the lead of the race, because he doesn't need to win this one to get pole position. But the problem is, you can't be too soft, because if one comes through, they're all going to come through, and then he might be in stripe and he might not be on pole position. So the best form of defence probably to keep attacking here for the race leader, but picking up the toe and having a look down the inside there was Kevin Ludi in that second place, absolutely side by side with him, and going through is Durante into turn 2. The Italian goes second ahead of Kevin Ludi, and that was really because Kevin had to go into turn 1, then had to back off out of the manoeuvre. That cost him speed into turn 2. The Italian took advantage, and it's side by side now for third place. Who's going to get there first? Kevin Ludi just about hangs on to the position, and then you've got Slavinsky, Scholl and Verlainen now all with him. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th together. The 2 leaders, though, Kanchar and Durante, 0.2 of a second between them. There's only half a lap to go now. Frank Kanchar on course for a clean sweep here, just like Berke Besler in the seniors. It looks like it's going to be 3 wins out of 3. The only pole sitter today across the 3 classes to have managed this. And Kanchar is a force to be reckoned with in the second half of the season. His championship campaign starts here. Even though things haven't gone according to plan thus far, he's still 3rd in the championship. Could be moving up this weekend because he's just taken another win. Great drive from Cosimo Durante to take 2nd. Kevin Ludi 3rd. Giannis Slavinsky 4th on the line. Konstantin Scholl 5th. Ville Verlainen in 6th place. Martin Pearce, the best Masters driver, shows us what he can do. The ex-world champion in 7th place. Sam Smelt comes through to 8th. A good drive from Sam as well to gain 5 places in the race. Raul Abascan Lavin comes home 9th, and 10th was Aaron Sherlock, the Irish driver, also made up places. Harold Skarkaklis has made up good positions in the races today, and 7 places gained from the 9th row of the grid to put the Latvian 11th, with Lukas Bartosuk, the championship leader, in 12th place, also making a bit of progress. Lots of progress also made by Michel Beffinger, who came through 11 places up the grid to finish in 14th, just behind Moransky, who was the second best master. Pearce, Moransky and Adams, the top 3 Masters drivers, in 7th, 13th and 16th places overall. And provisionally, it will be Frank Kanchar on pole position for the pre-final tomorrow with 3 wins out of 3. Kevin Ludi will be lining up 2nd on the grid. And then tomorrow, it should be Konstantin Scholl 3rd, Ville Verlainen in 4th place, Cosimo Durante in 5th place, Abascal Lavin in 6th on the grid tomorrow, Sam Smelt qualifying 7th, and Aaron Sherlock qualifying 8th on the grid for the DD2 pre-final.